Seasonal affective disorder is a form of seasonal-based depression, a mental health disorder which is experienced when there are large changes in the weather and specifically the number of daylight hours.
This is formally known not as the winter blues, but as seasonal affective disorder.
Symptoms include sleep problems, overeating, social anxieties, and a poorly regulated emotional state.
It can cause people to want to end their lives. So it is something to be taken seriously.
So I've suffered from this extremely badly for the last few years, extremely negative during the winter months. I have had an uncharitable view of myself. My motivation has been at zero, where I really just feel like every aspect of who I am gets crushed into a million pieces by a massive, icy, cold, low daylight houred sledgehammer. At the end of each winter, I've told myself, not next year, buddy. If I can just figure out a way to get the out of this country for a few months, then this will solve all my problems. But then what happens is spring comes along. You feel, oh, I feel pretty good now. Summer comes along. You feel, oh, I feel great. Autumn comes along. You're like, you know what? It's been a pretty good year. Wobbly start, but quite good now. You forget how terrible you felt. You forget. And then suddenly winter comes along. You're like, I've got this. Each year, winter has won and has got me. Until I'm pretty chuffed to say, basically this year, I've kept my head above water. I feel happy. I feel positive. I feel better than I've felt in ages. So I just wanted to make a little video talking about seasonal affective disorder and how I have managed to defeat it this year. And I hope that some people might find this useful. So one of my favorite quotes is, you will never talk to anyone as much as yourself, so make sure you say nice things. You have to talk to yourself like you'll talk to one of your best friends. If someone you love is feeling like shit, you don't make them feel worse. You point out the reasons to be optimistic and you try and lift them. I still get it some mornings. This chatterbox brain, you're not good enough for this reason. You haven't achieved this for that reason. What I've started doing is basically going, no, whoa. So that's the first step. You've got to go, whoa. You hold it right there, you son of a bitch. You've got to stop and say, this narrative, I choose whether or not this is taking place. It's up to me how much I pay attention to this voice. Where does this voice come from, you know? Maybe it's the way you were treated as a child. Maybe it's something that your parents said, or a teacher, or a sibling. Or maybe it's your own voice and it's been built up after years of perceived failures. Give yourself a hard time again and again and again, and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm begging you to just try, next time it just comes, to just go, nah, mate, not today. I'm not doing this. And instead, tell yourself some positive things. And this takes practice. Eventually, the positive side can win. And I would say this is actually the most important piece of advice, but it can be the hardest piece of advice to do, because that's the hardest thing. Luckily, there are a few other things within our control we can do which can assist that. So the second thing is... if you're not eating well and you're feeling shit, you really need to try eating well. You might be surprised that you don't feel shit anymore. Particularly if seasonal affective disorder is weighing you down, you have to give yourself every fighting chance. And it's a vicious cycle because you feel terrible, so you eat comfort foods to make yourself feel better, and they give you that brief hit. This is not a way to medicate yourself if you're suffering. Last year, I was feeling particularly negative, and I was speaking to a friend at length, and they said to me, look, you cannot pretend that you're doing everything while you're eating that. You can't be eating that and being surprised that you feel like this. And this year, I've absolutely just stayed on top of it. I've been bringing my A game to the kitchen, and as a result, I feel pretty damn good. If you're suffering with seasonal affective disorder and you're eating crap, just try to take care of your diet for a little period of time, and you might be amazed by the results. Look, I get it. There's some people that no matter how much you try and persuade them, they're just not going to exercise. Some people just aren't up for it. And to be honest, if someone's not going to help themselves, you can't help them. But if you're one of these people who hates exercise, just go for a walk, mate. Just every day, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You're feeling stressed, you're feeling low, you're feeling pessimistic, you're feeling negative, you're not being very nice to yourself. Just leave that to one side. Just go on a little walk, mate. If you do that every day, that positive habit, you might be surprised of how much better it might make you feel. For me, at the start of this year, I started training hard in the gym again. And as my body got stronger, my mind got stronger. Then my back got quite bad these last couple of weeks. So what I've been doing is just been going for a walk. I think if I didn't do that, I would probably start to lose my mind. So go for a walk, mate. Go for a bloody walk, mate. It's no surprise that people feel terrible during the winter, because what happens is we need more sleep and people pretend that's not a thing. It's really, really bad for you not to have enough sleep, and it's linked to loads of diseases in later life. Not everyone's different, but generally you need more sleep during the winter. And people just like to crack on like usual. They don't go to bed earlier, they get up at the same time, and then they feel rough all winter. You're going to bed at the same time in winter as you are in the summer, and you've got seasonal affective disorder, and you're eating crap, and you're not doing any exercise. Man. See, the thing about this advice is it all seems quite generic, but it's the most obvious stuff that you have to start with. If you're not taking care of sleep, diet, and exercise, you're in no position to solve anything else. Get in control of them. This year, I have been on top of every single one of those variables. I still have a few wobbles here and there, but I feel pretty damn good. And if you're not doing those things and you're upset about feeling really bad, just try it. You've got nothing to lose. Write down a little journal. Get good food in the fridge, write out a little diet plan, make yourself do some exercise or go on a walk, and go to bed at like 9 or 10 o'clock every night. Guarantee, if this doesn't solve your problems, it will go a long way to helping it. Exercise, diet, sleep. Get those three things, you're setting yourself up for success. If you have those things in order and it's still not working, then you need to take extra measures. So first of all, obviously, talk to your loved ones, talk to your friends, tell people how you're feeling, see a therapist if you need to. Don't keep your problems to yourself. It makes it 10 times worse. And I know you don't want to be a burden on people, but actually choose one friend, choose two friends, choose a family member, choose a tight network of people that you can really communicate yourself with. Oh, it's like a weight off your shoulders. You'll be so relieved you did that. Another thing is vitamin D deficiency is a big thing, apparently. If you have seasonal affective disorder, you may need some vitamin D. So take some vitamin D supplements, get some vitamins in. On the topic of vitamin D supplements, get some sunshine. When the sun comes out, go and put your face in it, because seasonal affective disorder is literally linked to lack of daylight hours. If the sun is there, another thing that keeps popping up that loads of people have recommended to me are these SAD lights, these seasonal affective disorder lights. At first, I thought it sounded a little bit gimmicky. I thought, nah, that's not the one. But the amount I'm hearing these things repeated again and again and again by so many people that suffer from seasonal affective disorder, there must be something to it. These lights are essentially lights that mimic the sunshine. You go put your face under them, or you can set it so they come on a couple of hours before you wake up. So that's definitely something to think about. What have we got so far? Therapy, or talking to your family and friends, your loved ones. Go and put your face in the sunshine. Vitamin D deficiency. The SAD light. These are all really helpful things. So if you've got that exercise, that diet, that sleep, that positive internal dialogue, if that's all there and you're still suffering, do all the other things. If they don't work, I'm not the right person to be speaking to, but hopefully all of those things will work. Since I began making this video, I've had so many good conversations with friends and loved ones about seasonal affective disorder and how this time of year affects them. So thanks to everyone who I've had some great chats with over the last week. But my favourite chat was with my friend Georgie, who sent me this piece of writing by an author called Bridget Anna McNeil. Now, this might be a bit wishy-washy for some people, but for me, it seems to perfectly vocalise why people struggle with winter and what I think winter should all be about. The winter solstice time is no longer celebrated as it once was, with the understanding that this is a period of descent and rest, of going within our homes, within ourselves, and taking in all that we have been through, all that has passed in this full year which is coming to a close. Like nature and the animal kingdom around us, this time of hibernation is so necessary for our tired limbs, our burdened minds. Our modern culture teaches avoidance at a max. Alcohol, lights, shopping, overworking, overspending, comfort food and consumerism. And yet the natural tug to go inwards, as nearly all creatures are doing, is strong, and the weather so bitter that people are left feeling that winter is hard, because for those of us without burning fires and big festive families, it can be lonely and isolating. Whereas in actual fact, winter is kind. She points us in her quiet, soft way towards our inner self, towards this annual time of peace and reflection, embracing the darkness and forgiving, accepting and lovingly embracing the past year. Winter takes away the distractions, the buzz, and presents us with the perfect time to rest and withdraw into a womb-like love, bringing fire and light to our hearth. And then, just around the corner, the new year will begin again, and like a seed planted deep in the earth, we will all rise with renewed energy once again to dance in the sunlight.